That's happening in the background of this session, like while this thing is happening.
Crazy man shouting in Dalhurst.
There's a crazy man shouting in Dalhurst. More at 11. Might need some random counters. That's way too much. Okay. So, where we last left off, Richter got punched in the face, and after successfully convincing the Mercers and John Donner to allow John's farm to be a neutral meeting ground for Etne, with them present as well, they offered their home for an evening before you go off on your way to get things in order, so that in 3 weeks you can have this meeting with Etne. And so that evening, as the three of you guys, plus Anna Shieldheart, Beatrice, and Ophelia, and I think that's all that you guys had with you, right? Yeah. You guys are treated to the hospitality of Delia, Richter, and John. And yeah, so if there's anything that you guys want to do, or anybody that you want to talk to, I know that Connor's gonna be talking to a couple people. He gets out at 9, I believe. And Kat's gonna get him at that point, and then we'll swing into the next stuff. So if there's anything that you guys want to do, we can do that now. Otherwise we can. Otherwise, we can take a little bit of time and we can do some other background session stuff to make up for the fact that we won't have one on this Friday. So that's up to the two of you guys while we're waiting. If there's anything that you guys want to do,
talk to in that.
Fantasy Ground's fucking up for me. Hold on.
Oh, I also don't have Fantasy Grounds open. That might help.
Oh. Well, it's telling me there's an update available and it's just not working.
No, there are people if you guys want to talk.
I have a reason to talk to them.
So, but yeah, so if it's there, and so if you guys have anything, you can.
Did Beatrice come back crying?
Oh, like a few days ago or whatever? Because I imagine that was actually on the road.
Yeah, that was on the road.
Okay.
Yeah, that
doesn't happen. Wait.
Yeah, that happened.
Happened on the way back or on the way down?
I mean, it could just as easily happen after this, like in one of the days that you guys afterwards. Okay, that's fine. So that you'll have those weeks to process and such. So yeah, that has not happened yet. And yeah. But I mean, if she does come back and is crying, you're not going to know about it because she's just going to go to bed because it's like the middle of the night. But yeah, so was there anything that you guys want to address here, or if not, we could just fill the time with something.
I would probably fill the time with something else because I have to figure out what's going on with my computer.
Okay, that's fair. In that case, is there anything that we have with any of the Okeanos folks, or the folks on their way to Okeanos that are here? Because we can do some stuff like that. Honestly, if we want, we can also do the Alstro. We wanted to try and finish seeing the things.
Wait, what?
Yeah, if that's a thing that you wanted to do, that's entirely fair.
I could talk to Delphine. I know we wanted to talk.
Oh yeah, that's true. We do have Ari here. We could use that opportunity now if you wanted to do that.
I mean, if Anna wants to eat the rest of the book, that's okay. I will wait.
Probably could do both. Because we have like an hour and 20 minutes or so.
Okay, so. I'm not picky.
Yeah, that's plenty of time.
Yeah, like he's not going to get here until between 9 and 9:30. So, like, we have a little bit of time.
Okay.
So
I'm not picky.
So yeah, let's go ahead and do that first. And I that'll be a good place to start.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to sneeze.
How dare you?
And so yeah, I'm jumping over for a moment, taking a brief vacation from Legala for a moment. We will jump back over to the ocean, and yeah. So Davian, you and Delphine would be able to find a moment to talk to each other. It's not a huge ship, so
Who's approaching whom, I guess, is the thing.
Well,
Eh.
I mean, I might as well approach you. I've always
Okay.
do that. All right.
Okay.
I mean, where would you be?
Where wouldn't I be?
Okay, then.
I'm on a ship, and my friends Ven and Neely are here. Where do you think I am going to be?
Oh my god.
I am playing with my friends. Hello?
Delphine.
Oh, hi, Davian. What's going on?
Well, discussing our plan for one.
Oh, yeah, that.
You'll have plenty of time to play with them.
I'm sorry, Neely and Ben. I have to go sort this out first, but maybe we can talk in a little bit and have some more fun.
it's all right. I think we should probably get some work done, anyways. And they'll go off.
Okay. So plans. What about plans? What do we do with them? What?
Well, aside from the fact that when we get to Okeanos, I am planning to have a meeting with the rest of the mercenaries in terms of what our next course of action is.
Well, I've kind of been thinking about that a little bit. Isn't Orion supposed to be like, more of a neutral party?
Well, yeah, I mean that's actually what I wanted to talk to you about.
Oh, wait. Do you not want to be with? If you would rather go over and be with Orion, that's okay. I understand.
I'm gonna bop you in the nose. Just let me finish.
Okay.
As I said, we have to plan our next course of action. I still plan on accompanying you, but I believe that we should both work with Orion.
Oh, then you also had my plan. Though I thought when you were addressing it that you didn't want to do that. So.
Oh, what? I'm not gonna abandon you like that. Jeez.
I mean, it's not that you would
Mandy.
abandon. It's not that you would abandon me. It's just that it's. I don't know. I didn't know if it was a very well thought out plan. It was just kind of he wants to be neutral, and we all kind of want to be neutral, so maybe we could be neutral together, kind of thing.
He just blinks.
Fabian, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to lead people.
I'm aware of that. You're still growing. You'll learn eventually.
I don't know about that.
That being said, it would be better to be with a bigger group. Strength in numbers and all that. And with Orion being the neutral party, it would be the best path to go to. You two aren't so different in terms of what you both want. So why not work together?
I mean, as long as you're okay with that.
Of course. That being said, I still need to discuss that with Orion.
Well, then shouldn't we both do that?
That's the plan, Delphine.
Oh. I'm sorry. I guess I'm a little slow on the uptake today. I've got games on the brain. I'm sorry.
It's quite alright. I've Probably should have planned this out as to when to talk to you. But
okay.
in any case, I've spoken my mind and what we should do.
Okay, well, then I guess we have nothing left but to do it.
Exactly. And he pats her on the head. All right. Well, enough serious talk. Have some fun.
Okay, you can come play with us too if you want.
Why not?
Awesome!
And then they both go and play whatever they're playing.
I don't know.
Tag.
At this point, hide and
Tag.
seek, probably, because I can't find them, so.
Oh God, I'm
It's currently that.
not very good at hiding, especially with this messy red hair.
Oh, sounds like a personal problem.
It is a personal problem.
Well, we could always teach them the crab prank.
No, you stop that.
Once this prank made Davian cry.
Why don't you just go finish eating the rest of the book? God.
I don't know if I want to know about a prank that made Davian cry.
Hooray! Now we have to speak to
Yeah.
Orion at some point.
Well,
Yeah, that'll probably be during the
okay.
once you guys get to Okeanos, because you guys will both be there at the same time. So
Hmm.
Now we get to watch Halster finish a book somehow.
delicious.
Ew.
Delicious. Yeah.
And
Somebody tell Nico so he can hide all the books in their apartment.
Also, so basically everybody I care about has been informed about my book eating because that was Jacob's recommendation.
Wow. I'll just watch.
Yeah, so anybody who would need to be there for this can be. But obviously that's like up to you. It's not going to be quite as exciting as the last time, because you know
No.
there's nothing physical left.
Who needs to be there for this scary, scary thing that you're trying to do?
It's not as scary. It's already part of me, so
Just getting into the rest of it. Well, I wouldn't mind just being there, just in case anything bad happens.
I assume Ira is on standby for heals.
Yeah, I imagine. And so yeah, you kind of get comfortable sitting down and kind of try and focus and try and draw your mind back into that scene that you were in before. And yeah, go ahead and make a discipline check using your presence instead of your willpower. Which I guess functionally would be the same as just using your cool because you have the same amount of ranks. So for now, you could also just use cool, whatever is more convenient.
Yeah, I'm going to intense focus this.
Yes, and so that'll be 3 strain, 1 plus the 2 for basically quote unquote trying to do this, and yeah, it's going to be against 4 difficulty, 2 purple, and it'll be 1 red.
By the way, Anna, if you really want to upgrade yourself more, you can use augment with the haste buff, and you can just keep that up with your bonus.
For something like this, this is more of just an internal thing. So there's not really going to be able to help too much. So, but that does work for most things. But for this, it's kind of just this.
So is it 3 purple and 1 red?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So you'll suffer 2 additional strain, just from the process therein. And as you focus your mind back into that scene, that sequence of events from the past. The narrative from before. You wake up on the ground, the sacred and holy ground of Arcanon, and you look at your hands as you get back up, and you like look down, and there are lacerations and cuts from where the chains that to strike at your body still burn through your robes, and so you get up, and it's hard to breathe a little bit, and so you go and you head back. He's long gone by now, and so you head back into the heart of Arcanon. And after you travel for some time, you find an immaculate spire, not too unlike the ones that exist there now, but a little bit different, even the same. The buildings are almost ethereal and pristine, the same buildings that you've seen in your in the previous visions here, and so you climb up it as slowly, still clutching your wounds. A couple of times you stop and cough. A little bit of blood comes out. And you make your way up to the top. And in the clear night, the moon clearly visible in the sky above. Bright. You see on the almost perfect stone, as this tower doesn't, it looks like it wasn't even made of bricks and such. Like you don't see where like the bricks were inlaid on each other. It's just one single polished stone, almost as if the entire thing was shaped and crafted meticulously, but not from materials so much as from existence itself. And so as you get to the top of this tower, there's a small balcony, and as you search for Aisling, and finally you find her. She's sitting on the edge, one leg up on this one leg up on the wall of the balcony, and the other kind of just planted on the ground nearby. And she's crying. She weeps, looking up at the night sky, up at the moon. And as Arlen, as you approach slowly, you say her name, and she turns in your direction. Her radiant, fiery hair almost floating, almost as if it defies the physics of this world, as it goes, as it always has. And picture of her again, just for a reminder's sake. Almost like what you would see if someone were underwater, and how it almost seems to take a moment for gravity to kick in as she turns. And she stands up as you limp into the area, and she looks on with concern as she stands up and makes her way towards you. She seems smaller than she usually is. She's usually her normal statuesque figure is usually nearly 10 feet tall, but she almost seems much smaller right now. Whether it's just the way that she's carrying herself, or whether she actually has the ability to alter her size, is something that doesn't quite click with you right now as your body pulses with the wounds. And she comes over and catches you as you stumble. Arlen, what happened? And you explain that you were speaking with your brother, that you were trying to explain to him that what he believed was not true. Dristan, he claimed that he wanted, or that Aisling knew that they would die when she did what she did. That by turning them human, by taking what they were from them, that she doomed them, no kill them. That she didn't care, that she didn't truly care about you or about any of the humans here. And that they were all just playthings. They were all just experiments. Otherwise, why would she have done what she did? And as you finish explaining, Aisling goes about dressing wounds with shreds of cloth. Not with healing magic. She does not seem to be able to use that, and Arlen seems far too exhausted to do so. And as she's dressing the wounds as best as she can, and as you finish, she looks over at Arlen with sorrow in her eyes, almost with loneliness. And what do you think? Do you think that I would do such a thing? And Arlen shakes his head. You loved them as much as we did. You made a mistake. You didn't know. You had no way of knowing. You just wanted them to be able to be happy, didn't you? She looks up at the sky again. They never ask to be a part of this. And now they no longer need to be. Even if it is my fault. And she turns back to Arlen. This war is not something that they needed to be a part of, that either of them were prepared to be a part of. I just wanted to give them a chance to be happy, like all of. She she stands back up and helps Arlen up, and she kind of as they're speaking, she walks over to the edge of the tower and looks off, and through the cloudless night you can see straight down, and you see the lights of a hundred hearths slowly going out throughout the course of the night. They just want to be happy. All of my children. All of you. If I would have known before, perhaps I could have saved your son as well. I'm sorry. And Arlen is quiet for a moment. And Ashling weeps again. And after a few more minutes, Arlen walks, and he having regained a little bit of energy, his hand glows, and he patches up a couple of the worst of the wounds so that he can stand up straight again. And he walks over and he reaches out and places a hand on Ashling's shoulder. They may not have been ready. My brother might not have been ready. But I am. And she turns back to him, drying the tears from her eyes. Don't know what conflict brought you here. But I will do whatever I can. I'll do whatever I can to help. Neither of us can count on our siblings any longer. So perhaps we'll have to count on each other instead. And Arlen actually drops to his knees. Let me help you, Ashling. And she looks for a moment, a look of shock on her face before she reaches down and helps him up. The scene that follows, there's a number of scenes that once again kind of blend together. And Aisling leads Arlen deep down into the recesses, the ancient halls beneath the island, within the island. Natural and carved into it as if they've always been there. And though there's no torches, there's no lights, the inside of these chambers seems to be almost lit ambiently from nothing and everything at the same time. And you can feel the magic pulsing from deep within this place. The safety, the warmth, the power. And finally you get to a chamber. A chamber that's held within it. There are a number of different things and energy almost seems to pool freely from around here. The walls seeming to surge with energy. As almost the inside of this almost seems to have a pulse that almost seems to move and almost as if the ley lines within this are alive within the island itself. And as Aisling leads you in, you see a number of those luminous beings awaiting inside. Formless and featureless, almost entities of light and fire. And as the two of you enter, you go to the very center, and as you look up, it's almost it's a raised kind of dais, and the stone, the smooth stone that kind of arcs around almost seems to be scintillating with an energy, almost a pool as it kind of goes. And Aisling approaches and asks, "Are you ready?" And you nod. Aisling walks up to you slowly on this pedestal and this dais rather, in this atrium, this chamber of energy within the heart of Arcanon. And she reaches her hand out and she gently holds it against your chest. And now you've seen something very much like this before, Alstro. And Aisling's hand gently enters Arlen's chest. And you can see her eyes close. She focusing hard on what she's doing. And you aren't afraid. You trust what's happening. And you feel parts of you are taken. bits and pieces, rearranged. You feel an emptiness. And as she extracts her hand, a small, hand-sized orb of brilliant golden energy remains in Ashling's hand. With her other hand, she reaches it up to her own chest. And she winces for a moment as her own hand enters her chest for a brief moment. And it extracts with a luminous orb similar. As bright and brilliant as the sun itself. And as an important note, as that golden orb was extracted from your chest, so were you. Your sight, your vision. The perspective of this vision shifts and is now in as if it is from Ashling's hand. And Aisling hands the orb that she extracted from herself to Arlen, who staggers a little bit, almost seeming to be short of breath. And Arlen opens his mouth and devours the orb that she had taken from herself. And you watch as from Ashling's hand, you witness as Arlen begins to shift and change. The lighter portions of his hair that you remember seeing from before, they glow with a similar kind of golden energy that yours did, that Ashling's does here. You watch as he kind of, his breath hitches for a moment, and when his eyes open, there's an ethereal glow, a similar one to what you see with Aisling. His ears seem to grow and shift and pulse with energy like the rest of him. And what stands in front of you is a very different Arlen. One that looks much more like one of the antecedents than anything else. And as he recovers, she looks at him and holds the lore that she had extracted from him, and he places his hand on it, and all of the luminescent beings from around, a few of them approach, and as they place their hands on the orb, they melt and vanish and seem to go into the orb as well. A couple of them do that. And as they do, the orb begins to shift and grow into the shape of a tome made of luminescent light. And almost like a blade that's pulled out of a forge, it slowly begins to almost cool. And finally, what remains, what you see, the vision from this point on, is Avalon. And the next scene that you witness is Arlen with the tome by his side, descending down from the from Arcanon. I didn't want to play that yet. Descending from Arcanon and going back to the home that he and Dristan grew up in. The air almost seems to light itself as Arlen makes his way. And Dristan is waiting for him. So, brother. You didn't take my warning very seriously, did you? Dristan says. And from the looks of it, it looks as if he was also on his way to leave. Likely to go and confront the two of them. This is clearly a couple of days later. So what? Does this make you her lapdog now as well? Let me guess. You accepted her gift. You disgust. You believed her, didn't you? You believed her lies, as you always have. She's using us. She's always been using us. Each and every one of us humans are just a tool for her, an army that she's raising for some. And you just accept that. How long before she throws you away like she did her? How long before she decides that everything that she's built here is good enough, and that she moves on? You don't think that this to her, do you? Arlen just looks at him and speaks. His voice with almost that same kind of ethereal quality that with. Nothing I say can convince you of otherwise, brother. But it does not have to be like this. And you see Arlen hold his hand out towards Dristan. We can do this together. And you see shadows gather around Dristan as his expression sours. I will not be her plaything, her tool. We don't exist purely for her enjoyment, for her experimentation. We're free to do what we want. But if you can't see that, Arlen, then I believe you and I both know how this has to go. And Arlen closes his eyes and shakes his head. I'm sorry, brother. And Tristan says, me too. And the two of them, in a flash, withdraw their tomes, Gleipnir and Avalon, and let forth deadly blasts of energy. The two of them clash, their potent magics railing against one another. The two of them seem almost equally matched for some time, as radiant surges of energy and light slice through portions of the building, the ground, scorch the earth, and slice through a number of trees around. Others struck by Gleipnir's magic cause the plant life around it to begin to wilt. And at one point he does so on purpose to try and cause a tree to fall on Arlen, but he is able to duck out of the way at just the right time. As the two of them continue to blast energy back and forth, Arlen seems to be inexorable. Every blast of energy he generates from Avalon strikes with further and further strength. His power waxing. As Tristan's wanes, you see fatigue begin to show on his brow. And as they continue to clash back and forth, Arlen's magic begins to overpower him. And finally, Arlen raises his hand, and a radiant lance of light appears in it, and as he hurls it through the air, Tristan raises a hand to try and create a shield of dark energy, but it pierces directly through it. And you watch as the lance strikes straight through Tristan. And he collapses on the ground. And he clutches the wound and looks up at Arlen. Arlen's face, as you can even see from your perspective, Arlen's face is expressionless sorrow as he closes the distance. And Alistair, I need you to make another discipline check. Same thing. But this time I'm going to upgrade it once using a story point. And so it's gonna be against 2 purple and 2 red.
I'm gonna intend focus again. Yeah, I'm gonna upgrade it back too.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Go ahead and make another one. Because that'll be 1, 2, and then 6. Yeah, go ahead and make another one and get 2 boost dice to it. But otherwise the same difficulty. And you'll have to intense focus again. But I'll let both of those upgrades just because we'll probably just do the same thing.
Oh, wrong one. Two boost dice?
Yes, 2 boost dice with those Oh shit. Okay. Right. And as you as you push through the last part of the vision, you watch as Dristan, he kind of scrambles back on his hands, coughing like coughing globules. He turns back, and Gleipnir is on the ground a few him, and he clambers back to it with struggle, and he touches the book, and he begins to mutter something. And you watch his energy quickly begins to suffuse the book. And as it does, arcane sigils of violet and black energy begin to appear all around the edge of the book as he makes a series of quick incantations. And as it does, as the gap is closed between them in this split second, blackened chains begin to sprout from around the energy and from around Dristan's hand to begin to bind the tome, wrapping it and encasing it. And Arlen gets to where Dristan is, and he kneels down and I'm sorry, brother. And Arlen reaches his hand down and pierces through Dristan's back. And Dristan freezes. And Arlen withdraws his hand. And with it, Dristan's lore. Dristan lays on the ground motionless, his hands still touching, gripping on to Gleipnir, now completely wrapped in chains, looking exactly as it does to this day on Connor's hip. And Arlen devours his brother's lore. And he exhales. He walks over and he reaches down and he picks up Gleipnir, and it seems to be sealed. You were always the clever one, weren't you? But then you hear something else. Give me 1 second. I need to get the right song. Here we go. Sorry about that. And you hear another sound coming from inside. a baby crying. And Arlen's head snaps towards it. He survived. And Arlen rushes over to the door and opens it. And lo and behold, inside is Tristan's child. Who seemed to survive. Where unfortunately, Arlen and Kiva's child is not so lucky. But his did. And so Arlen goes out and taking the child, he spends the rest of the night digging a grave next to their mother and father, who had passed only a few years back. He buries his brother, silent. And as the sun rises, Arlen leaves. He returns back to Arcanon with child. And you see what happens next. He raises the child, the only one that survived. He raises him to be a leader of his people. Teaches him his own magics. And Gleipnir was sealed away. We watched until something else could be decided with what to do with it. But his son was taught all of the good, all of the bad, all of the duties and responsibilities. And finally, he was old enough, he was ready to lead. And on that day, Aisling told Arlen that she had to leave. So he was right, Arlen said. He was right all along. And Aisling looks to him and there's nothing else that I could do to help. But I'll return. I don't know when. But I will. But my presence won't do any more for us here. Not when you are here in my stead. And Aisling holds her hand out and shoulder. I know how you feel. But the world is dangerous, and I cannot stay here forever, lest the dangers from without threaten us, threaten all of you, all of my people. Arcanon will shield you. It will protect you from the dangers beyond. And you will protect our people better than I ever could. And Ashling leaves. With a crack and a wind hot and gone. Her last words ringing on his ears. And you watch as the years go by. The continent is united. The war was brief, violence, but then Legala knew peace. Under his son, your ancestor, your nephew, and eventually there wasn't a place for you, for Arlen. And so he descended back into that room, deep within. But not before leaving Avalon with his nephew, with his son, for all intents and purposes. And as you watch, as the cities across Legala are built, generations of mages, generations of haven trees, every generation looks less like the goddesses, less like that side of the bloodline and more like a human. And finally, as each of these generations go by, it does not take long before the secrets of before, the magic of before changes. The statues, the depictions look more human. And as you see the sun and the moon switching roles in the sky, 8 times in the blink of an eye, as the years roll by, every haven tree who held the tome, every haven tree who protected Legala, you see each and every one of them pass. And then you wake up. Your eyes open. And in that moment, Alstro, congratulations. You are the first lord to get math class.
Yay!
And we're going to go back to Legala. We're going to take a quick 5 minutes as I get my thoughts together after that. Etne! Where the blazes are you? No, but anyways. So meanwhile, back on Legala, as I had mentioned before, you guys were open to the hospitality of the Mercers and the Donners. Well, the Donners farm, mostly just the Mercers. And also Jolene, because Jolene is adorable. And so beyond a night of fun and warmth and kindness, Connor, you wanted to talk to some people. Is that correct?
I did.
Neat. Who would you like to talk to first?
Ophelia.
All right. Cool. All right, let's go ahead and do that one first. Shit, I don't have a song for this one. Oh well. Need a song. And so yeah, she's been keeping to herself, mostly. Just kind of probably she's just tending to her Pegasus right now. And yeah, so you would see her just tending to her Pegasus as you approach. She without looking, she kind of hearing your approach, she says, "Connor, was this something that you needed?"
Just to talk.
And she'll store the brush, and she kind of like leans up against her Pegasus. I'm all ears.
I could see that you were uncomfortable, it seemed, with the idea of talking to Edney.
Is it not fair for anyone who considers themselves to be a loyalist to be uncomfortable with that idea?
It wouldn't be unfair, no, but I don't think you being a loyalist is why.
I suppose not. She'll get up from the Pegasus and she'll. Would you mind going for a brief walk? I'm getting a bit antsy just waiting around at this farm.
Running around with a 4-year-old wasn't enough exercise for you?
Yes, but I suppose the 4-year-old is passed out, likely passed out in her bed now, and yet here I am still feeling antsy.
Connor just kind of smiles and fair enough. And he just kind of gestures lead the way.
And so you guys walk for a little bit, just in the outskirts of the farm. It's a very nice night. It's a little chilly, but the sky is pretty clear. I suppose I'm just a bit concerned, is all. Through all of this, Connor, I've seen enough of you, of what you think, how you feel, and of your history to know that I it's pretty obvious that I can trust you. You're going to be a great leader. As soon as you're able to do things, to make changes in this country, it's going to be for the best. That's plain to see. I'm just afraid of what might have to happen to get there. And Edney, at the end of the day, Edney still was responsible for the death of your mother. And I'm afraid of what the commander will think of it, provided that we're able to secure her return safely. I don't think that she's going to... I don't know how she'll take that idea.
Not well, I imagine. But putting personal feelings to the side is important whenever we're trying to do things that will affect everyone as a whole. At the end of the day, how I feel about Etney doesn't matter. Not in the big scheme, not in the big picture.
Yeah. Can you can I have you make a can I have you make a negotiation check actually? Make it against 3 difficulty. Get 2 boost dice.
Spend a strain to make it 2 difficulty.
Wait, what talent is that again?
Congenial?
Oh, yeah. Oh wait, no. Congenial that downgrades checks. So that turns red into purple. So you can't get rid of a purple one, but you would be able to, if there was a red, turn it into a purple. So there's still that, but that's fine.
Okay, well,
Still a success, and
Still.
well said. But ultimately, it's not how you think of her that I'm concerned about. Connor, it's a very real possibility that your aunt will not be amenable to this idea.
I'm aware. Just not sure how to contain her.
I can do what I can to try and help her see reason. But if she cannot, if she orders me to stand against you, I know not what I will be able to do in that moment. I desperately hope that it does not come to that, because there is no easy decision in that manner.
None of this is going to be easy.
Yes, I'm starting to see that now. Well, I've been seeing that for a long time. But well, let us hope that if we can negotiate for her freedom, or when we negotiate for her freedom, she will be able to see reason. Even just for a moment. But I know how much Camelia's loss affected her.
Yeah. I kind of get that.
A problem for another day, then. But if you intend to follow this path, I will do so for as long as I can.
I appreciate that. It means a lot to know that someone will actually follow me.
She kind of scoffs at that and looks back at the farm. Well, you've been doing all right so far.
I'm just convincing people to do what they already wanted to do, honestly.
Is that what you call that?
Something like that.
Well, I think I've likely suffused enough of your time with dire circumstances. We'll have plenty of time to speak later. To deal with what comes next.
Yeah, we have to get there first.
Always a taller mountain.
Yeah, but if there was nothing to struggle for, how would you get better?
Fair enough. Though it always helps to have a pace. She smiles.
It does make mountain climbing much easier.
That does. It does. Good evening, Connor.
Have a good night, Ophelia.
And she'll depart. And I'm guessing you want to go talk to Delia next?
Yep. No, actually, let's go talk to General Shield, and then we'll come back and talk to you.
And yeah, so you head out to the back into the area by the hearth, and you find Delia there. She's staring at the fire. Her forefinger on her right hand kind of in her mouth. And she seems to be in rather deep thought. And she has a small piece of parchment clutched in her left hand, which is kind of crossed in her midsection as she's kind of leaning over, looking at the fire.
I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
Oh, she kind of like looks. She looks at you, and then she looks away for a moment, and you see her reach her sleeve up to dry her eyes for a moment.
Not the best of news, then?
Apologies. It's not exactly becoming of a host. Not something like this. But yes, I suppose you could say that. Though it's news I didn't think would affect me in such a way. It's a missive from an old friend.
From before Richter, I assume, then?
She nods. I suppose I wasn't expecting to hear word that my father passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine. It really is. I left that behind me a long time. And he was not young by any rights. It's just difficult knowing that so much was so much went said. It makes you wonder if he even remembered me at the end. But I idle chatter, and terribly insensitive at that.
And Connor kind of like looks slightly confused. Insensitive to feel?
Insensitive to burden you with such unimportant things, when ultimately it's information that you need not trouble yourself with. Though I suppose in its own way it might be. My father was the Archbishop of Arlen,
His eye goes really wide.
so I suppose you should expect to see a replacement when you've returned back to Arcanon after all of this.
I have a decent idea of who that might be.
I assume it may be my brother.
Connor just kind of nods.
I wouldn't be surprised. Carter always did a very good job of following in my father's footsteps. I suppose it's not hard to imagine, or not hard for you to figure out then that, well,
You came from a very important family.
yes, I suppose you could say that.
Not that that really matters, I guess.
It does. But every family is important. The one that comes from and the one that one chooses. I just happen to have to pick between them.
Which isn't fair.
I suppose it isn't, is it? Though perhaps the worst part of it all is that I took no joy in leaving my younger brother, my mother, my father. Oh no. Mother's probably not taking this well. She closes her eyes and exhales. Well, I took no joy in leaving them behind. It was not them whom I felt the hardest for leaving behind.
He raises an eyebrow at her.
It was another girl, a few years younger than myself. Perhaps you've heard of her. She smiles.
She can likely see the wheels turning in his head.
Camellia and I were very, very close when she was younger. She was like a younger sister.
She never really taught her.
She did not have an easy life. Gods, how old was she when she found out that she was going to be the Empress? 5? 6, maybe? Seven at the oldest. She couldn't decide if she wanted to be afraid or excited. I was just turned 14 at the moment when I learned. Not too long before. And I promised I would help her along the way, make sure that she didn't have to be afraid. But, well, then I met Richter. I'm surprised that she forgave me for leaving.
It's likely seemed the smaller of crimes in her eyes, at least.
I can help. She was a wonderful woman. Sometimes I can barely believe that she's gone.
Yeah, I know how you feel.
I'm sorry about how Richter acted. He's had a
Hurt.
difficult life. Yes. And he knows how I did not handle the news well when she had died. I could have been dead myself. The only reason that I didn't go, that we weren't there, was because of Alstramaria. Otherwise, we could have. Any number of us could have gotten hurt in the crossfire.
That is kind of the world we're living in right now.
Yes, I suppose it is. I look forward to the day when it won't have to be.
That's actually something I was coming to ask you about.
She turns back towards you.
Connor just kind of does like that hand wave thing when you don't want other people to be able to hear in the room.
Yeah.
I have an idea.
An eyebrow raises.
A potentially somewhat insane idea.
Oh.
I want to try, and I believe splinter is the right word for this, away from the Magisters, away from the sons and daughters, and try to pull as many people from both sides of the conflict that don't actually want to be at war into one force.
Oh. Well, you certainly were not exaggerating, were you?
Absolutely not. The fact of the matter is that if things actually come to true blows, far too many innocent people get injured for it. I don't agree with the Magisters. Things need to change. I don't agree with the rebellion. We don't need to kill for it. I'm under no delusion that Millicent truly is in Arcanon.
Millicent Howard. You know that she won't take such an idea standing down.
I hope to have enough support for this that she doesn't have enough she can do about it.
Connor, I don't know if that is going to work as you want it to.
Oh, I am very sure this will not work perfectly.
But neither is an idea that will not work at all. I don't know precisely how much it will work. I don't know what will and won't. But what I do know is that such statement would be something that the people would rally behind. But I know it would not be all. I fear a greater conflict is unavoidable. And what you suggest may start a civil war. If you go this route, you're going to have to be prepared to answer for what that means.
It's a fairly large risk, but it's also the risk I'm willing to take, because if it can even minimize the damage being done, it'll be worth it.
Then I shall pray for your success. Truly. It's funny. Such an idea is one that I could have seen Camellia coming up with, actually. Were she in your shoes?
Yes, I've been told I remind a lot of people of her. So it's not as outlandish as I thought then.
Outlandish, no, but certainly dangerous. I fear that regardless of what happens, you're going to. If this goes well, chances are John will get caught up in all the excitement, forget that he's not a young man anymore. So something tells me that he'll end up, well, he'll end up being right there with you.
Yes, he did seem the rather Connor just isn't quite sure actually what word to use anymore. He's a character.
He's a good man. And I, well, I'm just certainly hoping that Sylvia does not get too jealous of him going meeting an old friend of his. But she'll certainly have to deal with it when she comes back.
It's funny, Sylvia is actually the one I talked to before I talked to you guys in the first place.
I hope she's doing well. It's been some time since I've seen her now.
She seemed to be doing rather well.
I would have to say that I'm a bit jealous that she got to see little Lily before I did. I hope I'll have the opportunity to see her after
I
this is all.
think it's very likely you will.
When everything is safe again. Yes, I would like that. But if you do choose this, Connor, beyond all digression, you won't be alone. I know people will stand.
Well, hopefully I can convince Edney of this.
I did not know her very close, but from the stories that Richter told me, from the stories that Sylvia told me, the stories that John told me, she may see the wisdom in your plan, if there's any semblance of the one that she was still in.
From everything I heard before, Rimaraji was the first to be vocal about change, to try every chance it seemed.
And, well, at the worst case scenario, if she has hardened some sort of bloodthirsty revolutionary, perhaps the promise of being able to go another round with Alexis Blackwide will be enough.
That I would like to see.
It's perhaps not something that I should say. Actually, enjoy watching that quite a bit.
I hardly think you'd be alone with that in one.
Perhaps you could sell tickets. The funding could help rebuild any of the damage from this conflict. But
Perhaps I could.
But I digress once again.
Thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you for sharing this lonely hearth with me for a moment and helping me take my mind off of things.
Connor stops for a second. Would you try to get in contact with your family again?
I suppose I'm just afraid of what that might mean. But I still think of my brother every day. It's hard not to. Perhaps in your Legala, I could do such a thing. She smiles. I think I would like.
I'm sure yours isn't the only family that was ripped apart by archaic laws.
No. Sure it wasn't.
Connor just kind of stands and. But I think I've taken enough of your time.
Sleep well, and if you or any of the others need anything, please just let me know.
Thank you.
She'll smile and bid you off.
All right, I'm gonna go to bed then.
Yeah. And yeah. Everything is fine, obviously, at night. Like, the night goes by, and you guys wake up and get your things together.
All right, Lynn, we're going back out into the wild again.
Fun.
Right. Which way is the nearest inn?
The opposite direction from where we're going.
As you guys get your things together and get ready to depart, Richter is going to come out of the house. Delia is obviously already here to see you off. She has Jolene in her arms. And Richter comes out. He's kind of looking to the ground a bit, still a bit embarrassed. Connor.
Richter.
I wanted to apologize. How I acted last night was unacceptable. And the others are right. If you can find it in your heart to forgive, I have no excuse not to. Or at least to try.
I asked a lot of you.
Yes, he says, looking up at you. But not nearly as much as this, he just says, gesturing to everything, will ask of you. So it's about time I get my head out of my ass, eh?
Connor just kind of like grins, and I'm not the one who said it.
No, you're not. He says, kind of rubbing the side of his like the side of his black eye. I suppose I'll see you in a few weeks then.
Yeah, unless I get kidnapped or something along the way.
He takes a second and he looks behind you to the mage, the Togwell, the mysterious other well-dressed person who definitely looks like he knows what he's doing, and then the two knights. And he looks back at you with a smile and says, "Something tells me that you'll be all right."
I'd like to hope so. But thank you. For... Oh god!
I wonder how many encounters we have. Oh wait, we're with you now.
That would be a first for this campaign for me, yeah.
No, I actually rolled up a few.
We actually get to do things?
Yeah, there's going to be a couple of things.
Oh, that's problematic.
That doesn't mean that you're just fighting. There's just things that are going to be happening.
Less problematic.
And yeah, so you guys settle off, and let me roll these up real quick to see what we're dealing with.
Right, yeah, I will be right back.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Oh, what the fuck does that mean? Jesus Christ.
What did you roll up?
Oh God, what is that even? How do I even deal with that?
What did you roll up?
This one is just absurd. I don't even know.
Did you just encounter a random pygmy tribe in the Legolan forest, or?
Oh God. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. Oh shit. Okay, yeah, no, that one's good. That one's good. That one's gonna be fun.
What
All
a
right.
fucking miss.
I'm equal parts confused and amused.
All right, let me know once you're back.
If he's not back, how does he know you said that?
Yeah,
You guys let me know when he's back. God damn it.
What if we weren't back?
he's in the kitchen.
What if we weren't back and nobody would have heard you say that?
Hmm.
Your plan was flawed, Eric.
I hear.
He's here. All right. So what's the plan?
Or we're going to George Shieldheart. So we can camp outside with him.
Of course. And so what's the so your general plan for the next couple of weeks is go to Shieldheart and then come back in like 3 weeks?
I feel like it's time to actually be back in the right amount of time.
Yeah, like that. You'll probably be able to stay for a couple of days and then
Yeah,
head
like, I
back.
didn't think we could make it back to Arkham.
Yeah, probably. You'd probably have to go straight there and then stay and then
Yeah, I don't have time to
yeah.
detour then.
Okay, so this is going to be a hilarious mix-up of various degrees of things.
God.
And so, so you guys, the first couple of days is nothing too substantial. But as you guys get maybe to the side of the direction of the place where a large amount of Legolan soldiers are, you guys see the sign of a small skirmish, a battlefield. It looks to there are no bodies, but you do see some splatters of blood. The what normally would be a pristine field of snow, is pockmarked by marred weapons, arrows, a couple of scorch marks from fire magic and such. And yeah, if you want, you guys can search a little bit more in depth to try and learn more about the situation. But it looks to be a former, a recent battlefield, not a massive pitched battle, but mostly just a small one. And if you want, you can take a closer look, but that's up to you guys. Or you could just kind of keep on moving.
Oh,
What do you guys think?
Brent thinks he's struggling with a paper towel at the moment.
I'm not struggling. I've never struggled in my life.
I can tell.
hold on.
So, do you guys want to investigate this a little bit further, or do you just want to leave it and try and keep an eye out for Dane?
Um,
I'm gonna look at our battlefield experts.
Anna looks around and is pretty much like, well, it's hard to say without taking a closer look, but if I were to take a guess, it looks like there was a skirmish between rebel forces and loyalist forces. It could be something different, but it would make sense. We're not too far from Dalhurst, and we're not too far from the encampment. There's a bit of pressure going on. Could just be something small like that, or something a little bit more intense.
Should we look around, you think, to make sure that there aren't unfriendly survivors?
I don't think we should tarry. If there are, we can deal with it when it comes, but I personally would say that we should just keep going. Ophelia, on the other hand, says, I understand the merits of doing that, but at the same time, we also might want to get some more reconnaissance. If there are hostiles in the area, it would be good to know. But we will be delayed if we do. We have time, but the more time we spend out here, the less time that we'll be somewhere safe.
I'm gonna look at Lynn.
I agree with both of them.
Yeah, but how quickly can you search an area? Actually, hold on. And I'm gonna toss you a stone.
I'm gonna throw it up and down a few times.
Wait.
Well,
I'll
I
look that
can't.
back, but it should help you get through things a little bit faster.
Are you gonna use the opal to transform?
I have no clue what he threw me. I know what it is.
Yeah, out
My
of character,
has
you
no
in
fucking-
character,
Out
yeah.
of character, or in character, you know it's a beast stone.
Yeah, it's definitely a bee stone.
Well,
I think you'd be surprised about the results.
I guess I'll take a look around. I mean,
Since
don't wait up.
probably-
I'll catch right up.
Well, I know. And we're gonna move on.
And so, by the way, when you transform, it's really strange. First off, you seem to be a little bit faster and more reactive than normally. And when you look at your paw, by the way, do you want to describe how you transform and what your form looks like? Actually, I've seen you.
But nobody sees me transform.
Oh, right. Because you're waiting until.
Yeah, no,
okay.
I totally walk off to
That's
do
fair.
a normal sword search.
That's completely fair. All right. Do you want to describe it just for the class?
It's a pure white wolf, except there's a bunch of red marks. I can't remember the name again.
like that tattoo you got or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, by the way, when you look at your pause thing, there's almost like an after image when you like move. That doesn't happen when you're not transformed, but when somebody transforms with this thing, there's almost an after image when you move. It's really cool, actually.
All right. Well, this is awkward.
Needless to say, it's going to take you half the normal amount of time to search this area. Can I have you make a perception check against 3 difficulty? And there's no setback dice because you're a pupper. Nice. So as you take a closer look, it definitely is a situation of it definitely does seem to be a situation where it was a skirmish between two sides, between loyalists and rebels. But interesting note, there it doesn't seem to be that there was any deaths. It was a small skirmish. It looks like it was likely 2 scout groups that ran into each other. But you do find hang on. Find something. You find what appears to be a torn satchel that appears to be as if it belonged to a mage once. It looks like it was ripped off, likely it was abandoned in the process of fleeing. And as you take a closer look and take a look in it, it appears to be a broken. It does appear to be a damaged backpack of holding. Basically, it's a special kind of device that you would know about. That many mages have that effectively allows you to hold a large amount of things inside of it.
I'm gonna take a closer look at that to make sure there's nothing dangerous around it.
It doesn't seem to be anything dangerous in it. As you take a closer look inside, there are 3 vulneraries, a couple of papers, and some old tomes. No magical tomes of any real note. Likely whatever magic tomes he had were on him and on a different place, so they were not in here. But you do also find an elixir, which is a very rare tonic that heals a much larger amount of wounds than a single vulnerary does. They are supposedly belonged or are very difficult to craft and very expensive. And only the most esteemed alchemists can make things like that. But you do find that, and in addition to that, you find like just some other mundane things, like you find some empty flasks, some field rations, and you also find like a map of the area, stuff like that. Nothing that you don't already know, but those the 3 vulneraries in the elixir are definitely.
I'm gonna grab the whole bag.
Yeah, and of course the bag itself. Can't go wrong with having that. So, boop. 3 vulneraries. 1 elixir. And a backpack of holding. The backpack of holding is it's the strap has been damaged, but the rest of it the rest of it is largely undamaged. Just a little bit of sewing here and there would be able to fix it.
I know somebody good at that.
Yeah.
Well, if there's
that's
nothing else in the area, then I'm gonna grab that and I'm gonna start heading back to the group. And whenever I feel like I'm closer to the group, I'm gonna untransform and start jogging towards them.
Yeah, and you'd be able to know when you were getting close enough because like, you know, you can smell them.
I have dog ears. I have dog smell.
And yeah, so you catch up to them and would be able to report what you found.
I walk towards Connor, throw the stone back at him after I give him a heads up on back. That certainly did speed things up. Doesn't seem to be anything of particular note, although I'm gonna grab the elixir and toss it to Connor. Whoever it was, they were either rich enough or important enough to have one of these around. I didn't see them though.
Huh.
Definitely handy.
Other than that, not really anything of
I'm gonna hand this elixir to Rinzu, actually.
Plain hot elixir.
And Connor just kind of shrugs, just in case.
Oh, right. I also seem less important than the elixir, but there's also maps of the area, but I imagine we don't particularly need those.
No, but these could be useful.
I'm gonna throw them to Connor.
Yeah. It's pretty much just like a more in-depth, like it actually shows like all the different farmsteads and every like very detailed map of the immediate area around Dalhurst.
All in all, worth the time. Didn't really hinder anybody.
Yeah. Especially with that stone. You got back way faster than you anticipated. That said, can I have everybody make a I assume that you guys are keeping watches when you're like
Yes.
having to stay in the that evening, can I have you guys make a vigilance check?
A vigilance check, you said?
Yes. Well, specifically, who do you think would be taking the?
Who has the sharpest senses among us?
I wonder.
Awkwardly, not me.
Well, vigilance would be if you're not actively looking for it. If you're on watch, you could use perception.
Oh, then yeah, okay, I can do perception.
I imagine probably the two lady knights would also like very much offer to take watches.
I'm glad our tanks are ladies.
They are. It's
You
kind of
know.
funny. So everybody who's not Lynn or the Lynn, Ophelia, or Anna can make a vigilance check, and then you guys can do vigilance or perception. And if you're on watch, so Lynn, your difficulty is going to be 3 red and 1 purple.
What?
And everybody else will have the same difficulty, but add 2 setback dice as well, because you're not on the watch, and so you might be sleeping or other.
So it has to be a vigilance check?
Yes, for you it's vigilance.
Oh no.
What?
Can I just say that I failed now?
Yeah,
because
it's-
I have
fucking
one.
roll.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. It's okay.
You might actually succeed.
Not
There's
again-
technically
oh.
a chance.
No, there's really not. Look at this.
See, you almost succeeded, actually.
I had the worst possible roll.
That's amazing. And
This is awful.
literally nothing.
Yes! Yes!
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
We're
All right.
fucked.
We gotta spit.
So
All of the guards are playing patty cake.
Rinzu,
Yes.
as you guys are camping, you hear something. You hear something outside your tent in the bushes.
Great.
Why can't the Queen of the Raccoons make them keep watch for us?
It's like right outside my tent.
Yes.
Fucking shit. Okay. Well, what kind of noises? Like talking,
A little bit of rustling.
all right. Well, I'm going to fucking grab my knife and stone's already around my neck. So gonna see if I can see what's out there.
And Lynn, I'm going to say that you're on watch at the moment. And so Rinzu comes crawling out of her.
Couldn't sleep.
And she'll like motion her face over to where, like, her head over to wherever she heard the noise.
Hmm. I'm gonna quietly take a wide walk around to where she motioned to try to get a vantage.
And as you take a closer look, you see a pair of eyes in the woods, just for a moment. And then they disappear. Just a glint of
Animal eyes, human eyes.
it was hard to tell.
Could I tell which direction I disappeared in?
Deeper into the woods. You heard some rustling.
Lynn's gonna click his tongue. I don't know what it was, but it was watching us. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about the wildlife to say whether or not this is a person or an animal watching us.
Yeah, it was there and gone. Like by the time you had locked on to the fact there was anything and focused, it was gone.
That said, I'm sure everybody will forgive me for this. He grabs a pot and pan that I imagine are somewhere around camp.
Yeah. Mess kits and such.
Clangs it a few times.
I'm gonna murder you.
And as you do, Rinzu, you hear some voices from back in the camp. Flee! Back to the woods! And as you whirl back, you see 3 raccoons
Oh my god.
sprinting away from the camp. Each of them holding a handful of rations in their mouth and/or in their little claws. One of them stumbles and drops a little bit of it, turns back and grabs it, and then sprints back out into the.
You want
into
to
the
stop them for stealing our fucking food?
Not all of it, just a small amount of it.
I mean, at this point, my mouth is just kind of open.
It's probably about, I'd say, about a third of your rations, and
Well,
they very quickly make their way off into the woods.
Connor shows up, and what is happening?
We just got ransacked by raccoons.
Can't you talk to them?
He's doing.
You'll never catch us here.
I believe we just got raided by raccoons.
Did you just watch them leave with our food?
We just got raided by raccoons.
And he just looks at me. Can't you talk to them?
They're long gone.
Yeah, they're didn't really. There's not much I could have done.
My apologies, everybody. I guess back to sleep. Connor, are you still having trouble sleeping?
Connor just stares and like bores into you with his like glare.
And right then and there, Connor, you swear that you hear a really quiet snicker coming from the woods.
Okay. I'm gonna make an explosion of light just fly around me as I can, like as bright as I can.
Oh God, no!
Like in that area, like in the area that it was.
I mean, yeah, if I can pinpoint it. Otherwise, I can.
Please warn us.
I can't.
Oh my God.
Go ahead and make a perception check real quick against that same difficulty from before, but without the setback dice, and add 2 boost dice.
Yep.
There's a flash of light off in the woods as you try and pinpoint the location of the thing, but you don't seem to find it.
What? No, I'm not looking for light. I'm making light.
Oh, well, I mean, like, you blast light and they're in the general vicinity and there's nothing there that you see. And
Oh no, I'm not talking like I'm trying to see with it. I'm blinding people with it.
Oh God. Okay, then you do that, but you also don't see anything in the process.
You just made a flashbang.
You just make a huge flashbang, and I imagine that was exactly when Anna Shieldheart walked out of the room, or like out of her tent, like with her sword, and like Connor, what happened?
I take this opportunity to put down the pot and pan that I'm still holding and pretend like I had nothing to do with it.
Amazing.
Proceed to put best poker face on.
I'm putting this back on. Is everything alright out here?
We got ransacked by raccoons, and then I heard laughing.
Jeez. What did they take? Just some food? She says, like, still covering her eyes.
About another third of the food we had left.
We can resupply when we get to my father's caravan. We'll be alright.
I'm not concerned about the raccoons. I'm concerned about the laughing I heard. They came after the raccoons.
You heard laughing?
Yes. Or snickering, I guess, is the appropriate term. Hence the bright light.
Yeah. Hence the bright light. She crawls out of her tent and I'll do a quick perimeter. If there's anything out there, I'll find it. Let me know when you're gonna do that next time, will ya?
Well, if I let people know when I'm gonna do it, then I wouldn't catch the other people off guard, would I?
Yeah. Good point. Good point. She's just gonna like wander out in like with like resheathing her sword. She's just gonna wander out into
Hey,
the
Lynn, you want to go with her?
her hair is a little bit
I'm
messy.
sorry. Hey, Lynn, you're going with her. Since you are so active right now.
I guess I'm going with you.
And you guys don't find anything. There's not really much to So yeah, I imagine you return back, and well, that's about all there is to it. And so yeah, you would return back to your watches and seem to be relatively unaccosted for the remainder of the interaction.
And I proceed to pretend like nothing happened this night.
Like, I didn't bang pots all over the place. Someday you could be queen of the raccoons, but not yet.
Someday.
They're still stealing your food.
Listen, I didn't even know that I could talk to them until I got here.
Surprise!
Like,
Rinzu, I didn't think I would have to tell you about this. But the animals you can talk to, you can also tell them what to do.
To a degree.
just gonna give you a fucking look.
And then he's gonna pause for a second and then reach into like this like satchel thing he has like on his like the side of his hip and pull out paper and then write down a list of the available species around that you can talk to.
Hey, that'll be handy. Which one? We decided like what? Raccoons, weasels.
It'd be raccoons, weasels, and something else.
Oh god. You can't tell badgers what to do though. Don't try that. And yeah. So yeah, the rest of your the next couple of days of trek is relatively unaccosted.
Oh, skunks.
Oh yeah, skunks.
Yeah, skunks, raccoons, otters, weasels, badgers, and obviously red pandas.
Go God.
Oh man, I can't wait for you to run into a skunk.
I don't want to run into a skunk.
Nobody wants to run into a skunk.
And then
Plus, whenever I use "Can't we talk about this?"
Can we talk about this, Mr. Skunk? You could use that on him.
I know.
Luckily, as you guys travel closer, as you guys get closer to the encampment, you guys find you do find an abandoned cart. It looks like most of it has been picked clean, but you do find one small crate that does have some field rations in, so you're able to mostly restock on the things that you would had stolen. But and you got to give an offering to your children, Rinzu. But
my kids.
Are abandoned carts normal around here?
when it looks like the spoked wheel is broken, and most of the things have been moved off.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like the thing was abandoned, likely because of damage and because it was possibly in a dangerous place. And finally, after a trek further toward the north near Dalhurst, you guys finally see the outskirts of this of the encampment that has been set up outside. It's less of an encampment and more of kind of a blockade. The the military appears to be attempting to surround Dalhurst. At least in a lot of ways, though it's hard to surround the entirety of this area. But there are encampments dotting around this area and patrols very much around as you can tell that they're effectively trying to cut off as much as they can the transportation and message running that these guys are able to do. But unfortunately, it's kind of hard to do because they're also basically checking caravans and cargo things that go in and out. They're not just forbidding them completely. So, because you can't really do that when a lot of these people are completely innocent. And unfortunately, that's something that some of the rebel people are able to get by. They have caught many, that it seems, but you guys, as you guys kind of approach the outskirts, you approach the encampment. It does not take long for you guys to be approached by soldiers. And it takes even less time once the soldiers approach to recognize Prince Connor, a Dark Flyer, and of course Anna Shieldheart. And so as this small group of soldiers approaches you, before they even have a chance to really say anything to the contrary, Your Highness Prince Connor. They all go into salute. We had no idea that you'd be coming this way.
That was part of the plan. There's
Well,
been far too many leaks.
True enough, sir. To what do we owe the pleasure?
I was hoping to meet with General Shieldheart.
Of course. Right this way. We can lead you right to him, sir. And
I just assume Anna will fall back.
Yeah, absolutely. And the rest of you guys are welcome to come as well. Whether or not you'll go into the actual meeting or just be brought into the encampment. As you guys are going in, Beatrice leans over to you. Anyone asks, just say you're with me, okay? Or with Connor, either one. But you shouldn't run into any problems as long as you're with us, okay?
She nods.
And so as you guys are led into the war camp, Anna looks to you, Connor, and there's a smile on her face because she misses her dad, and you miss her dad. You all miss her dad / your dad, unofficially.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she probably reaches over and gives your hand a squeeze. We made it. We're here.
We made it this far without dying.
And ain't that the truth? And so who's going to be going into the or who are you going to bring with you? Just her probably for now.
I feel like everybody else has other things they could probably do with this encampment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's some there are some places that you guys could go if you so desired and such.
I can't.
Well, you would go with the others.
Gonna hang out with B.
And so as you guys split off for just a brief moment, the soldiers lead you to the war tent. And as you enter into the war tent, you see a couple of familiar figures. At the front of the table, speaking at the moment, and his hand pointing at this large table that has an overviewing map of the area, is the familiar figure of General George Shieldheart, the High Commander of the aspirant army. He's a little bit. You swear he's got maybe a couple more gray hairs than the last time you saw him, as he is leaned over this, gesturing to a couple of the locations where he believes that there are leaks that the rebels are getting scouts and supplies through. That he talks about. And if we're able to, we should do what we can to try and close these gaps. We want to avoid any outright confrontations, but likewise, we cannot allow more information to be left from here. And if Etne is using these leaks to transfer or to transport herself, we need to know. And across from the table is another knight wearing full armor, helmet and such included. You know this individual, as he's almost always busy doing something. As Colonel Jared, the leader of the cavalry division. He's wearing pretty standard issue knight armor, with the crest of Legala on it. And even now, he still has his helmet on. Something he's almost a little bit notorious about. Some say it's because he's a bit paranoid about sneak attacks, but that's obviously just conjecture. And not too far from him is Colonel Charity, the leader of the Archer and Scout division. And she is paying attention closely to what he's saying. Not saying anything at the moment. And immediately close to that is immediately to Shieldheart's left, actually, is another knight from which you are rather familiar with, clad in Legalan green armor, and sporting a short blonde haircut, is Sir Thaddeus, Colonel Orwell's son, who watches and listens closely to the conversation at hand, and as you guys enter, Shieldheart and kind of cuts himself off early as they all turn and look at you. And George stops for a second. His eyes kind of like, his eyebrows raise. The rest of his face is completely like stone expression, but his eyebrows raise when the two of you guys just come walking in. And obviously the soldiers announce you guys. And I believe that's about all that I had to speak on at this current moment. You all have your orders. Dismissed. And Colonel Jared and Charity both nod, and they'll exit the tent from the opposite side. And Thaddeus Sir Thaddeus will salute. It's great to see you again. Though I apologize, it's not on better terms. And he'll see himself out as well. And there's a moment. And after a beat, George smiles. I suppose I should expect it. I should have expected a surprise visit by now. It's good to see you both again. And he's gonna hold his arms out, and Anna is gonna give her father a hug.
Yeah,